Hello, math students. Welcome back to Module 11, Geometry. This is Lesson 11 called Surface Area. Our goal for today. Today we are going to prove that surface area is the sum of all area parts. Sorry, let me say that again. Today we are going to prove that surface area is the sum of all area parts. The question that I want you to be thinking about is, what does surface area tell you? So things to remember. Surface area tells you how much space is needed to cover two-dimensional or three-dimensional shapes. You are going to find the area of all the parts and add them together. I do not know why I can't read right now. Find the area of all the parts and add them together. Okay, so this is very simple as long as you remember what you're supposed to do. What is the surface area of the following three-dimensional shapes? So we have all of this. And these problems, the only thing that may give you any really difficulty is the fact that they have parts of a whole in their measurements. So for example, right here is 7.5 millimeters, this is 12.5 millimeters, this is 15 millimeters, and this is 10 millimeters, okay? But again, you're going to use the criterion that you're going to find the area of all of the faces and then add them together. So one thing that I like to do to help me with that is I like to identify the parts. So this one up here would be the top, this one down here would be the bottom. So I'm going to write top and bottom. And then I'm going to go back after I write top and bottom, and I'm going to draw what shape it is. The top is a right triangle, and the bottom is a right triangle. Okay? Now I have the front that is staring at me, so I'm going to label that the front. And it actually is in the shape of a rectangle, so I'm going to draw a rectangle. Okay, and then I have the back side that's on the left and the back side that's on the right. So I'm going to say the left side, that's an L, left side, and it's actually in the shape of a rectangle. And then the right side, which is also in the shape of a rectangle. Okay, and now I'm going to figure it out. So I can figure out the area for the top, the area for the bottom, the area for the front, the area of the left side, and the area of the right side. And to do that, because this is a triangle, I have to use the dimensions. So I know to find the area of a triangle, I take the length times the width, right? And then to divide the whole thing by 2. Length times the width, divide by 2. To find the area of a rectangle, I take length times width. Area of a rectangle, length times width. Area of a rectangle, length times width. Okay, so far so good. This is not too difficult. Okay, so the length is going to be 10 times 7.5, and then I'm going to take that whole thing and divide it by 2. Okay, so I know that I have to change this to a fraction greater than 1, so 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1 is 15. So now I have 10 over 1 times 15 over 2, right? And I would get 150 halves. And then I'm going to take that and take 150 and divide it by 2, and I would get 7 with 1 left over, so that makes 75. And now I have to divide that by 2, right? Because I'm just following what it says to do right there. 2 goes into 7 3 times with 1 left over, so that's 15. 2 goes into 15 7 times with 1 left over, so 37.5 millimeters squared. Well, now I know that the top and the bottom are exactly the same size because they have to be. So I now know that the area for the bottom is 37.5 millimeters squared. So that wasn't too difficult. The front, the dimensions, I have the length, which we will go ahead and say that we're doing this rectangle right here. So the length is 12.5 times, and the width is 15. So again, I have to turn that into a fraction greater than 1. So 2 times 12 is 24 plus 1 is 25 halves times 15 over 1. This is where it gets gross. So I'm going to do some math over here. 25 times 15, that's 25. Regroup, that's 10, 11, 12. Placeholder, 5, 2, 5, 7, 3. Okay, so this equals 375 divided by 2, right? So 2 goes into 3 one time with 1 left over. 2 goes into 17 8 times with 1 left over. So 2 goes into 15 7 times with 1 left over. So it would be 187.5 millimeters squared. Okay, so far so good. And we can't do the same thing that we did up here because the front is not the same size as the left side. So now we have to do the left side. The length on this one, I would say, is going to be 7.5. The length times the width is 15. So now we make that a fraction greater than 1. So 14, 15. 15 halves times 15 over 1. Well, I know 15 times 15 is actually 225. I think that's right, if I memorized that one correctly. Let me do some math really fast and just check. So that would be 7, that would be 5, and that would be 1, 5, 12, 2, 225. Yes, I did remember. Okay, and now I'm dividing it all by 2. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 5 twice with 1 left over, so that brings that down, and 5. So now I know the area of that rectangle is 112.5 millimeters squared. Okay, I have one more to go. So the length on this rectangle is 10 times 15, which is the width, which I know already is 150 millimeters squared. Okay, so I think I've got them all. Now I just have to add it all together. So I'm going to take 37.5 plus 37.5 plus 187.5 plus 112.5 plus 150. Make sure that you line up all your decimal places so that you don't get confused. 5, 10, 15, 20. Regroup the 2. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay. 3, 6, 7, 8, and 8 is 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Regroup the 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I should get a grand total that the surface area for this triangular prism, because that's called a triangular prism, equals 525 millimeters squared. Okay, and that would be your final answer right there. All right, so that wasn't so horrible. Now, for you guys, I can hear you saying it now, oh, but it takes so long. Yes, unfortunately it does. It takes a long time. And one of the things that I've learned about teaching surface area to kids is that that's what kids hate the most, is that it takes so long. If you, however, set up this, it's very easy to keep track of what you're doing so that you don't forget anything or skip anything, okay? So what I would like you to do to try on your own is I would like you to take care of figuring out the surface area for these trapezoidal prism, and I would also like you to find the surface area of this rectangular prism. So you're going to do those two pieces and see what you come up with for your answer. All right, so let's go back to our goal for today. Today we are going to prove that surface area is the sum of all of the area parts, which is what we just did. We found the area of all these parts and then added them together. That's what sum means. What does surface area tell you? It tells you the amount of space that is on the outside of a three-dimensional figure or a two-dimensional figure. All right, kiddos, that's all I have for you today. Talk to you soon. Bye.